this probably dominated headlines. Well, it did dominate headlines globally, but it has been top of mind for many folks. I guess it was surprising that Anheuser-Busch, which produces Budweiser beer and Bud Light, they used the transgender woman, so biological male who presents as female, and I guess partnered in a marketing ad with him, Dylan Mulvaney. Why don't you unpack what happened there, Hannah, please?
Yeah, so Dylan Mulvaney, he's famous for starting out on TikTok a year ago saying that, I'm, day one in the life of being a girl, and he's supposedly lived 365 days presenting as a girl, not even a woman. So that's quite unusual to say the least. Anyway, so he's been getting tons of brand deals with very prominent companies. And the latest one that he did, the two latest were with Nike and Bud Light. And Bud Light obviously doesn't know their audience very well and didn't think that a man dressing up as a woman in the bathtub trying to look like Audrey Hepburn drinking beer, they thought somehow that would resonate with their consumers, and it did not. They've lost over $6 billion so far. And people are turning to other companies. There's one guy who's become viral online for starting his own non-woke beer company. So let the free market speak. If people don't like what Bud Light is doing, let's go support other companies. And Bud Light is paying for it now. And they've kind of released a statement saying that, we didn't mean to be part of a divisive conversation, which is not really an apology. And they're paying for it now.
Brock, this is an interesting case. So I approach this more from an advertising perspective, right? People come up with all sorts of gimmicky advertising campaigns. This was like a social media partnership, so not really a full-on advertising campaign. It's certainly, everybody knows the name Bud Light now, so maybe in some ways it actually was successful. But, was this a misstep? Was this $6 billion in valuation is a lot of money. What were they thinking?
Your value is really dropping in the case of the brewery, but I think this is a company that has a track record of being an iconic advertiser. You see all their Super Bowl ads with the frogs or the Clydesdales, and you think it's an iconic company. Their goal is to be talked about, and they're certainly being talked about, but they've also lost customers. They've created a small niche brewery from conservative dad's Ultra Right, which I have to say is a great name, trying to compete with them. But this is something that should be a beverage after a hard day's work, a gathering with friends, and instead you're dividing your customer base. So I think it's a struggle on their part to know what the right move was. But good on the social media influencer for making a good chunk of coin off of the brewery.
Yeah, welcome to capitalism. We saw with Hershey when there was that whole debacle. Again, it seems that a lot of these mainstream companies are kind of wading into the transgender debate by using transgender spokespersons or making advertisement arrangements with them. The Budweiser can, the Bud Light can with Dylan Mulvaney said celebrating 365 days of being of woman, of being a girl. Is this? One has to ask, is this the best way to honor girls or to honor women? Because I don't recall Budweiser, Hannah, ever celebrating girls beforehand. And maybe I'm wrong, but it seems like a strange way to honor girls.
Well, it is a very strange way to honor girls. And I just kind of want to pivot a bit to the Nike situation because Dylan Mulvaney also did a campaign with Nike recently. And, these companies like to say that they're pro-woman, that they care about women and girls. But Nike, they were going to sign on Allison Felix a couple of years ago. She's one of the best track athletes in the world. And she was pregnant at that time. And they said that if she was not able to perform at her full capacity while she was pregnant and while she had this brand deal with them, they were going to cut her pay by 70%. Right. So she said, no, thank you. I'm not going to sign with you. And then she actually started her own shoe company, and they do tremendous, amazing work for women. Usually your shoe size grows when you are pregnant. So if your shoe size has grown and you bought a shoe from her company, then they'll send you a free pair of shoes for your pregnancy and all different things like that to actually care about women. So no, these companies are just virtue signaling. They don't actually care about women. And Dylan Mulvaney is not a woman. I want to be clear about that.
Okay. Now, again, $6 billion is not a chump change. At the end of the day, Brock, will the numbers speak louder than social advocacy action, than, to use your phrase, the woke desire of some of these marketing arms of these companies?
And the marketing arms care about selling product, being in the conversation, and they've succeeded on that front. But come July, June, whenever Pride Month is, and they go back to their rainbow can, they'll be criticized from the LGBTQ community for only showing token support. So they get it from both sides, and they rightly probably deserve it from both sides.